Hey there. So I'm going to consider this the first official devlog for this new side project I'm creating. And I think it makes sense to do a little bit of an introduction. So my name is Mark, and by day I work as a professional game developer at an indie studio in Toronto. I've been working here for about 2 years, right after graduating from university where I majored in computer science and math. In my spare time, I do even more game development for fun. In terms of side projects, I think the most notable one I've ever created has got to be this RPG called Bright Red Skies. It's something I've been working on for over 2 years, and through a series of fortunate events and some Steam algorithm love, it's been able to accumulate 7.6 thousand wish lists, and it's even on Steam's list of top wish-listed upcoming games. That's something I never really expected would happen. I actually thought it would just kind of fall into obscurity, but I'll take it. So this is like my main side project, but I think realistically, it's something that's going to take like 5 to 10 years to actually get completed. And I really just want to release something, you know what I mean? That's actually why I'm creating this side project actually, because I want the scope to be a lot smaller. And this seems like a game that I could probably complete in anywhere from 3 to 6 months maybe. So if you didn't see the previous video, this is actually a continuation of a Gamjam game I made for the GMTK 2020 Game Jam. I'm thinking about just polishing it up, adding some new features like maybe leaderboards, and then just popping it onto the Google Play Store. So with that intro out of the way, let's get into the actual game development. Like I said before, this is a continuation of a Game Jam game, so some of the code was kind of like messed up. So the first thing I did was just refactor a bunch of the code related to the weapons. So here you see me refactoring some of the weapon class code. Previously, every single weapon inherited from the weapon class, but in reality it was mostly just a stats difference. So it didn't make sense to do this extra step. Instead, I created sub-weapon classes that function differently. So like a shotgun will shoot like in 5 different directions, whereas like the other guns shoot differently. So with all of the refactoring out of the way, I started thinking, what was the thing I needed to change the most? Or what was the most important thing that seemed kind of like unfun? And to me, it was the weapon system. So right now you could just hoard as much ammo as you want and then just keep using like a bunch of the strong weapons, but that doesn't really give you a lot of decision making to do, because you could just keep collecting these strong weapons and just use it like infinitely because ammo is so abundant. So the solution for this, I think, is to make it so that the starter pistol is weak, but it has infinite ammo, and then the weapons you pick along the way only have a capacity to hold 1 extra magazine. And when you run out of ammo, it'll just drop the weapon. That way you cycle through all of the different weapons and you don't just kind of like hold all the OP weapons that have essentially like unlimited ammo capacity. So I went ahead and implemented that, and here's what it looks like. So when you run out of ammo, the weapon goes on your back and then gets popped off. There's a highlight shader and it does kind of like a little bit of a dissolve animation. Thank you, Brackies, for the tutorial. After I completed this weapon dropping system, I just kind of called it a day and went to sleep. So things have gotten pretty empty in Toronto. I'm on my way downtown to go to work. I was actually fully remote since March, but recently we're in a once a week into the office kind of deal right now. Anyways, when I got back home, I wanted to work on giving more visibility for the weapon drops. So I used that highlight shader from before, and I'm kind of going for the old school kind of Quake style. So it does kind of like that slow spinning kind of thing. And I think it makes it kind of more obvious that this is kind of like a weapon pickup. I still felt like there was something missing to the weapon system. So you get kind of like that urgency from the weapon being dropped after all of the ammo depletes, but I feel like there could be kind of more gameplay mechanics around that. Because like when you pick up a weapon drop and you're at max ammo, like what would that do, right? So I started thinking, okay, maybe there could be different level ups for the weapon. So the idea is basically that if you get the weapon drop of a weapon that you already have, then it'll count towards the experience and level up of that weapon. So over time, you could basically just leave it in your inventory and then just keep collecting the same one, and it'll level up from basic to rare to epic to legendary kind of thing. With the level up system, you basically now need to think, do you want to just keep holding on to the weapon, waiting for it to level up even more and more, or just use it right away? I went on and implemented the level up system now. So now there's a scriptable object that each weapon has a list of that contains all of the weapon stats for each of the levels. So a lot of games have it where the epic and legendary weapons look a lot more powerful and kind of like flashier. So I was looking around for some tutorials and I found this good one on Unity VFX graph. So I followed it and created this kind of glowy particle with these circles kind of spinning around it. And here's what it looks like. I then updated the weapon UI to add kind of like these little circles to indicate how far you are in leveling up each of your weapons. And I added kind of like a corresponding color based on the current weapon level. There was something I noticed though. So as I was collecting the weapon drops and leveling up the weapon, there seemed to be kind of like a performance drop happening that was pretty noticeable. Like it would go from like mid 200s down to high 100s. So I looked at the profiler to see what was going on here. Okay, so taking a look at the profiler, you could see that the performance loss is from when destroying and instantiating the UI elements related to the level up icons. So this seemed like a perfect opportunity to implement the object pooling system. So what object pooling lets you do is instead of like actually destroying the object, it just kind of sets it as inactive and lets you reuse it, which is more performant. So completed all the object pooling stuff, and here's a before and after performance wise. So that's some pretty good performance increase right there, but you could also see that the ammo system is also kind of messed up in terms of its performance. So using the same idea with this object pooling, I implemented it for the ammo system. So with the object pooling for the ammo icons, we could also see another pretty big performance update in the profiler. So now when we pick up weapons or change weapons or anything like that, there's much less of a performance hit, as you could see kind of like in this comparison right here. So here's everything in action. So we have the weapon dropping when you run out of ammo. We have greater visibility for weapon drops, and we have this level up system. We also have these shaders for the material glow and some particle systems for epic and legendary weapons. To me, that seems like a pretty good amount of work done. Like it seems like the weapon system is pretty much complete right now. It's just a matter of updating stats to make them balance and whatnot. So in the beginning of this devlog, I mentioned that I just really wanted to release my own game, add something to my portfolio and see if I'm even capable of releasing a game on my own, right? But in terms of actual targets, I want something that's not super easy, but realistic. So I'll consider this game a success if 500 people download it in the Google Play Store. And that's kind of like my arbitrary target right now. The game is going to be free, so it seems pretty doable, but I guess we'll see. For the next devlog, I want to do either mobile controls and showing an actual Android build on my phone, or working on improving the enemy waves. So either adding more enemy wave patterns and letting them move around. So I have 2 years of professional Unity game dev experience, but I still feel like there's still a world of stuff I still need to learn. Like even in this devlog, I didn't even know that Unity had a VFX graph, and I learned that just like this week. So if you guys want to see where my game dev journey takes me, be sure to subscribe and like and all that good stuff. And if you're a game dev yourself, leave a comment of your game dev story. Seeing people's origin stories is always pretty fun. Anyways, hope you guys have a good one. See ya.